Have you ever wondered why the great civilization of ancient Greece, the cradle of Western civilization, declined and fell? This powerhouse of a civilization, rather than a country, was actually a collection of city-states, each with its own unique form of governance. Its influence on the development of Western civilization is immeasurable, shaping everything from arts, philosophy, science, to political systems. But even the mightiest of civilizations have their sunset. So, what led to the decline and fall of this influential civilization? The seeds of decline were sown with internal strife among the city-states of ancient Greece. For years, these independent states were more focused on battling each other than standing united. This continuous internal conflict chipped away at the strength and prosperity of ancient Greece, leaving it vulnerable to external forces. In the midst of this chaos, a new power emerged on the horizon, King Philip II of Macedon. Now, Philip wasn't just a king, he was a visionary. He saw a unified Greece, not a collection of squabbling city-states. With this vision, he embarked on a journey to conquer and unite these fragmented territories. Thebes, Athens, and other major city-states were brought under his rule. But, while Philip was a great conqueror, he was also a shrewd diplomat. He knew that the key to lasting control wasn't just military might, but also political alliances and marriages. He worked tirelessly to integrate the conquered city-states into his kingdom, not as subjects but as partners. In doing so, he laid the groundwork for a unified Greece, a Greece that could withstand external threats. However, this newfound unity was short-lived. King Philip's life was abruptly cut short, and his kingdom was passed down to his son, a young man who would go on to etch his name in the annals of history, Alexander. Alexander the Great, as he would later be known, was not just a king, he was a force of nature. He had inherited his father's kingdom, his army, and his vision of a united Greece. But unlike his father, Alexander had dreams that stretched beyond the borders of Greece. But it was his son, Alexander the Great, who would change the face of ancient Greece forever. Alexander the Great was an exceptional military leader, but his impact extended beyond the battlefield. When we think of Alexander, we often envision a young king leading his armies to victory after victory. But his reign, though cut short, was marked not only by conquest, but by a unique approach to the cultures he overcame. With a vision fueled by the teachings of his tutor, the philosopher Aristotle, Alexander sought to meld the cultures of the East and the West. After he finished conquering ancient Greece, he set his sights further afield, embarking on a series of campaigns that would see him rule over much of the known world at the time, from Egypt to India. Unlike many conquerors, Alexander did not impose Greek culture on the lands he conquered. Instead, he adopted a policy of cultural fusion, encouraging intermarriage between his Greek soldiers and local women, fostering the adoption of local customs, and even adopting some himself. He allowed the cultures of the conquered cities and countries to continue to exist, provided the people stayed loyal to him. This approach had a profound effect, leading to the spread of Greek culture far and wide. Greek became the lingua franca from the Mediterranean to Asia, facilitating trade, diplomacy, and cultural exchange. Greek art, architecture, philosophy, and science were introduced to new audiences, influencing and being influenced by local traditions. The result was the Hellenistic period, a rich era of cultural cross-pollination that would leave a lasting mark on the world. But Alexander's empire was as ephemeral as it was vast. His early death at the age of 32 led to the fracturing of his empire among his generals, the Diadochi. Yet the cultural impact of his conquests would endure, with Greek culture continuing to influence the East and the West long after his death. Yet even as Greek culture spread, the seeds of decline continued to grow. Alexander's death would usher in a period of instability and conflict, setting the stage for the eventual decline and fall of Greece, but that's a tale for another scene. Scene script. Despite its cultural influence, ancient Greece was not immune to decline. The glory of ancient Greece didn't fade overnight. It was a gradual process, marked by a series of events that chipped away at its strength and unity. Political instability, economic issues, and military threats all played significant roles in this decline. The political landscape of ancient Greece was a patchwork of city-states, each boasting its own form of government. This fragmentation often led to internal conflict, as city-states vied for power and control. The Peloponnesian War, a protracted conflict between Athens and Sparta, is a prime example of such internal strife. This war, which lasted for 27 years, weakened both city-states considerably, leaving them vulnerable to external threats. The economic struggles of ancient Greece further compounded its problems. The cost of maintaining armies, navies, and public works was astronomical. As wars raged on and resources dwindled, city-states found themselves on the brink of financial ruin. The growing gap between the rich and the poor led to social tension, further destabilizing the political environment. External threats also loomed large over ancient Greece. The rise of the Macedonian Empire under Philip II, and later his son, Alexander the Great, posed a significant challenge. While Alexander did spread Greek culture far and wide, his empire did not survive long after his death. The power vacuum left in his wake led to a period of chaos and infighting, known as the Wars of the Diadochi. The final blow to ancient Greece came in the form of the burgeoning Roman Republic. The Romans admired Greek culture and were heavily influenced by it, but they were also determined to expand their own empire. In 146 BCE, after years of conflict, the Romans defeated the Macedonian kingdom at the Battle of Corinth. This marked the end of Greek political freedom. The city-states of Greece were absorbed into the Roman Republic, marking the end of the Hellenistic Age. This transition was not entirely destructive. The Romans, captivated by Greek culture, ensured its preservation and propagation. Greek philosophy, arts, and sciences found new audiences in Rome. Greek scholars and slaves brought to Rome as tutors imparted Greek knowledge and culture to the Roman elite. Even the Roman gods were reimagined in the image of Greek deities. In this way, the legacy of ancient Greece lived on, even as its political power waned. And so, a civilization that once stood tall finally fell, leaving a legacy that continues to shape our world. Despite its decline and fall, ancient Greece's influence remains palpable in the modern world. From democratic principles to philosophical thought, from architectural styles to theatrical traditions, the echoes of ancient Greece can be heard and seen in many aspects of contemporary life. The decline and fall of ancient Greece was a complex process influenced by a multitude of factors. This statement aptly summarizes the intricate series of events that led to the downfall of one of the most influential civilizations in human history. In our exploration, we've delved into the beginning of the decline, marked by internal strife among city-states that weakened the collective strength of ancient Greece. We've seen how even outstanding leadership couldn't prevent the inevitable. King Philip II of Macedon, and later his son, Alexander the Great, who ruled over much of the known world, couldn't prevent the collapse. Alexander the Great's rule was indeed remarkable, not just for his military prowess, but for his policy of cultural assimilation. He allowed the conquered cities and countries to retain their culture, given they remained loyal to him. This strategy resulted in the spread of Greek culture far beyond the borders of Greece, influencing regions as far as Egypt and India, but even such a vast empire couldn't sustain itself forever. Despite the grandeur of Alexander's empire, the seeds of decline had been sown. After his death, his empire was divided, and the lack of a strong central power led to a gradual decline. Ultimately, ancient Greece was conquered by the Romans in 146 BCE, marking the end of an era. Yet, as we reflect on the decline and fall of ancient Greece, it's crucial to remember that the end of a civilization is not the end of its influence. The legacy of ancient Greece continues to shape Western civilization in profound ways. Its contributions to the arts, philosophy, science, language, literature, political systems, theater, mathematics, and education have had a lasting impact. Consider the democratic political system which has its roots in ancient Greece. Or think about the philosophical ideas of Plato and Aristotle, which continue to shape our understanding of ethics, politics, and metaphysics. Reflect on the scientific contributions of Archimedes and Pythagoras, which laid the foundation for modern mathematics and physics. So, while ancient Greece as a political entity fell, its intellectual and cultural legacy continues to thrive. It's a testament to the enduring power of ideas and cultural practices, even in the face of political decline and fall. The story of ancient Greece serves as a reminder of the power and fragility of civilizations. It shows us that while political power may wane, cultural and intellectual contributions can endure and continue to shape the world in profound ways. Although ancient Greece fell, its legacy lives on, reminding us of the power and fragility of civilizations.